Miss Kellum is a little under the weather, and so she's going to participate by phone, as is Chris Watson later on during our meeting. But I'd like to welcome all of you for being here. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Pastor Brooks, who will lead us in prayer, and Mr. Powell, who will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. So we please stand.
May we all bow. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come once again before Thee with our head bowed and hearts humble. First, we want to say thank you for all of Thy many blessings. And Father, we come this evening as we gather together in this council meeting, that You will be a part of these proceedings. Father, we ask blessing upon this mayor, upon this council. We ask blessing upon the chief of police and his department. We ask blessing upon the chief of the fire department and his department. We just pray, ask some blessing upon all those that are here under the sound of our voice. We want to ask a special blessing tonight for Lindsay, that's out sick tonight. We pray that You would heal her in a mighty way. For we know that Thou have all manner of power, and You can do all things but fail. So, Father, we ask blessings right now that You will bless this council and this meeting, that everything will go according to the law and will be done decently and in order. And Father, we ask it all in the precious name of Jesus. In Jesus' name we do ask. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. All right, at this time, I'd like to recognize Chief Hale, who has a presentation to make.
Officer Sergeant McGovern. Yes, Mayor Board, I would like to, it's time for our second quarter, officer reporter for our second quarter. And this one goes to Sergeant Dwayne Montgomery. The last 3 months, Sergeant Montgomery has done an excellent job. He's our top DUI guy. He's does an excellent job patrolling the streets. He mentoring our younger officers. He's had 20 arrests over the last 3 months, 14 of them being DUIs. So he's doing an outstanding job. So I wanted to recognize him as our officer of the quarter for the second quarter. He gets the goodies that go along with it. You get a gift card from Sullivan. I need some groceries. You get small cakes and a card from Shell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's get a picture.
Congratulations. Congratulations, and thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. 3, 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is Chief Davis here? Chief Davis, yes, sir.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Gluckstadt Fire Department and the 4th class rating received from the Mississippi Rating Bureau. Do you want to announce that?
You can do it.
Well, I guess I just did. You recently received a letter from the Mississippi State Rating Bureau recognizing that Gluckstadt and the Gluckstadt Fire Department here has received a 4th class rating.
Correct.
What's the significance of that to those who don't know?
The lower your ratings, the better your insurance rates are. And when you go from a 6, like a 7 to a 6, it starts helping the commercial and retail more. And the lower you go with that, the more it helps your commercial and retail. Your homeowners still get a break on their insurance premiums, but from a 6 down, it starts helping commercial. So obviously it's more commercial coming in.
So we received the 4th class rating.
Yes,
Is that good or bad?
just good. The lower you go, the better you are.
When you say lower,
The lower, the highest 10 is the worst you can get, or They call it a 10, unprotected 10. If you're somewhere out in the county somewhere with an unprotected 10, you're gonna have, your insurance will be way up there. You're gonna go from a 10 to a 9, is a lot of money saved for the homeowners, and then on down.
Okay, so, you guys should be commended for that, and the public should know that when you renew your homeowner's insurance, your real estate agent, your insurance agent should know this, because I suspect your insurance for next year will be less. So thank you to your
I
guys.
want my guys to be recognized, because they don't want to do all the work.
Yes, sir. You want to introduce them, have them come in, that's the good time to do it.
Remember who they are. This is Corey Chad, he's our, Lieutenant Section 1, Tony, Battalion Chief, or fixing the Battalion Chief, Justin Hewer, everybody knows the Division Chief, Preston, and myself.
Well, why don't y'all come over here and be recognized, and we'll get a picture of you, somebody can take a picture. So, Scott, can you do that?
Have the water, guys.
Hey, Mayor, they said they would like to get a picture with their hero.
Is that what they said?
Y'all ready?
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Good job, y'all.
Mayor, this was a goal of mine for years. Number 1 was the ladder truck, which we got. Number 2, good for class 4. Now I can retire.
Awesome. No.
Not yet. Good job, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. All right, is there someone here to speak tonight on the Freedom Call event?
Mayor Casey Syke was going to try to attend.
Okay. This site is not here. So, let's see if we just, I will do my best. There's a Freedom Call event scheduled for Saturday, August the 17th. And it is designed to sound the alarm on human trafficking and exploitation. Obviously, a good cause. So if you want information about that, you can contact us here at the City Hall. We've got some information that you can see about that. And we'll try to more thoroughly publicize this on our social media and Gluckstadt on the Go. I thought somebody was going to be here to speak on it, but it's at August the 17th between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the Canton Christian Center. So if you're interested in that, it's certainly a worthwhile cause. All right, at this time, I'd like to move to item number 4, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Motion.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, that's approved. Item number 5, monthly budget reports. Items 5A, 5B, and 5C are generally FYI matters. Are there anything, is there any questions about that, or Mr. Maul and Miss Kellum? Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yes, sir. On 5A, it's the budget amendment. So we will need board approval for this budget amendment.
Okay, yeah, I overlooked that. All right, everybody had the opportunity to look at item 5A, the proposed budget amendments. All right, is there a motion then to approve these proposed budget amendments? Motion. Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Page seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Ms. Kellogg, thank you for correcting me on that. I overlooked that. Budget reports and the bank reconciliations are FYI matters. I just approved the bank reconciliations. They're located here in City Hall and also in your materials, but available to you if at any time you want to review them. All right, let's go to item 6A. You want to get Mr. Watson on the phone? Can somebody do that? So as you guys know, we have been working with Chris Watson and Bridget Watson with regard to numerous things with regard to the city, but tonight, item number 6A has to do with adoption of the services and facilities plan for the proposed annexation area. As the public is aware, we are in an annexation dispute with the city of Madison, and the Gluckstadt Services and Facilities Plan has been prepared for us and by Mr. Watson, and he has advocated that we adopt it at our meeting tonight. Mr. Watson, are you there?
I am.
Great. Do any of you have any questions of Mr. Watson? Chris, do you want to make a presentation on this and why it's important?
So, when you adopted the annexation ordinance, by statute, that ordinance contains a very generic promises in terms of services and improvements that the city would make in the annexation area. In 1994, the Supreme Court decided a case, and the Supreme Court essentially said cities, those generic promises in your ordinance, that's not good enough. That the people that are being annexed need to know more about what to expect with regard to city services and improvements from annexation. Thus, this idea of the services and facilities plan was born. And all the services and facilities plan does is it identifies in more detail what the city of Gluckstadt is going to do for the annexation area. For your annexation area, it's very simple. I mean, the plan is a very simple plan because none of your departments need additional personnel or additional equipment. There would be some increased operating expenses. There would be street lights that you would have to go and install. You know, the same promise as was had with when you incorporated the territory. But otherwise, it is just a more specific promise and identification of the things that you're going to have to do anyway. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Okay, Mr. Watson, I appreciate that. Thank you. Do any of you have any questions of Mr. Watson? All right, at this time, I would urge that the board adopt the proposed services and facilities plan, and I would ask for a motion to approve that.
Make the motion, sir.
All right, Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Mr. Watson?
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Scott. All right, item 6B has to do with regard to consideration of the Germantown High School sponsorship package for the Mavs Booster Club. Obviously, this would bring favorable
Favorable promotion to the city.
favorable publicity is the word I'm trying to get out of. But promotion is an easier word to say, Ms. Kelly. Thank you. So at this time, I'd just like for us to discuss it. Scott, did we do this? Ms. Kelly, we did something last year, didn't we?
We did a $500 sponsorship last year.
Okay. We certainly, look, the school is integral to the success of the city. We want to support the school. And the school supports the city and its citizens. So I would urge us to do something, but I'll certainly defer to you guys, whatever you think.
I agree. I think it's a great idea and support for the school.
Anybody want to make a motion as to which level of sponsorship?
I knew we did a $500 sponsorship.
All right, Mr. Powell made a motion that we again commit to the $500 sponsorship package. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, guys. All right, at this time, item 7 has to do with the proposed residential rental inspection code. And that is item 7. Ms. Williams, did you want to handle that?
Well, I'll start out on that. And thank y'all for getting this on the agenda. In a couple of meetings and very in-depth discussions, Mr. Hall and Mr. Powell and myself and Mr. Slay and other discussions, and Ms. Beggs all participated in kind of the, what language and what terminology did we want to try to modify to bring this, code forward again for consideration of the city. The changes that were made are in the packet that is obviously available for public view. And what I want to stress is this is an inspection code for residential rental property. It's about safety inspection. As far as the approach I'm taking. We do have in my research again today, trying to get my numbers current. Based on just an overview of me looking at research and parcels and owner information, and this is not official, this is just Lisa looking up data and seeing if there's homestead versus non-homestead on property. Today, I'm estimating about 173 rentals that are known in our city limits. Rooftop wise, I'm thinking that number was, I'm kind of blank out on the rooftop wise, but I'm thinking on about 8-10% almost on the percentage comparable to home occupied residential property. Mr. Powell had still some follow-up questions that we were just needed to clarify things, so I'll defer to him since he was very active in helping bring this discussion forward again, and Mr. Hall might need to give him some answers here.
Mr. Powell?
Thank you, sir. So over the course of the last couple of months, I've had a lot of one HOA specifically, and several citizens have reached out to me about the rental code or having a rental code for Gluckstadt. So I kind of reached back out to Alderwoman Williams. She initially brought it forward in January, and we had some concerns and some things weren't quite in place yet. Several questions that I had about rentals were, could the city just outright not allow rentals, which I was told by legal that the city cannot do that. Could a city limit a certain percentage of homes to be rentals? So we have 1,000 rooftops and we limit 10%, so 100 rooftops can be rentals. Once again, a city cannot do that. From all my research, neighborhood HOA is the only organization that can legally not allow rentals in a neighborhood. So, if say I live in Richfield, if Richfield doesn't want to allow rentals, then the Richfield subdivision would have to come up with a ordinance within their HOA, have it approved, and then I guess grandfather in, and once the rental is gone, then they'd have to sell the house or the person move in. So anyway, I reached out to several of the HOAs within the city of Gluckstadt, pretty much all of them. They kind of discussed, did they have rentals? Say like Arrington does not have any rentals in their neighborhood at this point. I know Red Oak was a huge concern. Their presidents reached out to me several times about it. And so I've asked some of those people to attend, so possibly we can later on allow them some time to speak if they would allow to. I do have a few questions for Mr. Hall on Alderwoman Williams. I guess answer my first one, but exact or approximate number of rentals. So she said about 173. Charlotte, this rental code, would it give the city of Gluckstadt the capability to obtain the data that we need to know the number of rentals within the city?
It would.
Right. Do you have a person in place to handle inspections?
We do at this time.
Right. So I think that was something previously we didn't have. So according to the rental code that we have here, anyone that currently owns a rental house would have until March the 31st, 2025 to have their property registered as a rental. If it's adopted today and goes into effect starting in September, so that would be correct.
That was correct.
So it gives them plenty of time for however many people. We don't know exactly how many the renters that we have here. Ms. Policy, all current rentals will be grandfathered in. The city would not do any occupied home inspections according to this, correct?
Correct.
Right. The first inspection would take place when the current rental becomes vacant with an inspection fee of, we discussed $250.
Correct.
All right. If a tenant moves out within 180 days from the last inspection, so somebody has rented a house from Mr. Hopper, they unexpectedly have to move up north and they left after 90 days. The next tenant would have to have an inspection, but we will not charge Mr. Hopper another $250.
That is correct.
Right. Let's see here. Do you feel the rental code would serve the city of Gluckstadt in the current format? Well, let me, before I say that, previous discussions, we did find under, section 116, there are a couple of corrections that did need to be made, that we need to make. With those being made, you feel this rental code would serve the city of Gluckstadt in the format that it is?
I do.
And also, you know, previously we had a square footage requirement in there. There's currently no square footage requirement right now. So that's all the questions that I have, for Mr. Hall.
Anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
On the Gluckstadt app, someone anonymously says my next door neighbor looks like he got a rental house. You're gonna start knocking on doors and asking, hey man, is this a rental house? Or, I mean, what's gonna be the procedure? I don't wanna be like the kicking in doors and stuff here.
No, we definitely wouldn't kick in doors. The first thing to do would be to check parcel information, tax records and such. And that would, again, if they've declared homestead on that property, chances of it being a rental are minimal. If not, then we would pursue further within public records before perhaps going just to knock on the door for an informative question.
Do you put as much weight on anonymous complaint as did you go put that his own name and address and everything? Treat it equally, or?
They're all concerns of the citizens. So to me, an
Well,
anonymous
the knowledge, you don't know if they're citizens of Gluckstadt or not, right?
That's true.
I had another concern. I guess this would be for Zach. I'm looking at the email requesting you to look at this. Lisa and Ms. Chase wanted you to look at being able to cut off the utilities, water, houses that aren't in compliance. Is that legal?
If the city
owns it, is it in the ordinance?
No, sir, so the city does not own its own water system. Since Bear Creek owns the water system, it can be done for failure to pay, like your taxes or your water bill or your sewer bill or something like that, but the city cannot, in its sole discretion, cut somebody's water off. It would have to, contract with Bear Creek to be able to do that.
For non-compliance of a rental house.
I'm not sure if it can be done for non-compliance with the rental ordinance, but I know it can be done if you haven't paid your taxes or your sewer bill or your water bill or some other type of tax like that. Your water can be cut off at that point in time, but the city has no power in and of itself to do that since it does not own its own water system.
There was another question they asked you, which I couldn't find the answer. I want to know how many people per bedroom is allowed in the city.
So that, we've actually discussed this with Mr. Hall. That is found in, it's contained in the building codes that the city has adopted. I believe when we looked at it, it was it's not limited based on number of rooms compared to number of bathrooms, it's based on square footage. I believe it's for every one person in the house, they have to have a minimum of 100 square feet for a bedroom. And then each additional person that would live in that bedroom, there would be an extra 50 square feet required. But that is contained in the building code. So I did advise Ms. Williams that if there were to be a change to that, it would not need to be done in this ordinance. It would need to be done in the building codes.
So 1 per 100 square foot bedroom.
Each bedroom is required to have a minimum of 100 square feet for one person, and then every additional person that would sleep or live in that bedroom would require an extra 50 square feet.
So this probably isn't for you, but the application fee is $150. If they want the city to print out the application, which would require them to fill out, it's $20 to make a copy. But it's just for the rental.
That is the way the ordinance reads at this time.
And then $250 inspection.
Correct.
So that's the fourth one, if they want you to print it out. Then if they don't get something fixed that you find within 7 days, they have to re-inspect again, that's another $250 or whatever.
Correct.
7 days, you can't get a repairman on Saturday or Sunday. So I'm thinking that needs to be changed to, working days or, cause that cuts them down to 5 days, right off the top, to be able to get something fixed. That's my feeble mind. There's one more question. Someone. Oh, yeah. So the pain and suffering we're putting on landlords now, the way I see it, if they don't fix something, you find them in violation, they could be fined $1,000 per punch item and or both 90 days in jail per item.
That would be a decision of the judge, I believe.
So 4 items could be 120 days, 120 days in jail. If $4,000 in fine.
If I may interject on that, that's the statutory penalties for any violation of any municipal ordinance is up to $1,000 fine, up to 90 days in jail. So that can be limited. We just can't go over that number. So if you want it to be $250 fine or no jail time, that's certainly okay. Go above $1,000 for 90 days. And that is up to the discretion of the judge at that point. Bond or sentence, whatever he determines at that point.
Mr. Hall, I have a few questions. The stated intent of the proposed code 101.3 says that the purpose of all of this is to ensure public health, safety, and welfare insofar as they are affected by the initial and continued occupancy of residential rental structures. Here's my question. If we assume we've got 173 plus 8 to 10% rental homes in the city of Flagstaff, have we had any complaints relative to the public health, safety, and welfare pertaining to rental properties? Have we had one?
Not at this time.
Anybody here speak on this? Anybody in the public here sign up to talk about this? We hadn't had one complaint relative to the public health, safety, and welfare as it pertains to rental property in the city.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. That's all the question I have. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Slade.
I do. I've read over this 3 times and it's really confusing. There are a lot of things I think need to be corrected in here. It's not clear that when the initial inspection is done, the way I guess interpret it is the home would have to be inspected. It mentions initial application and inspection fee. The initial application and inspection fee of residential shall be $250. Now, I think we've said it's $150, right?
For application.
The application fee. Okay, initial application and inspection fee. We're not going to require an inspection when the house is initially registered, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we should.
I talked to Mr. Hall yesterday and he thought, and in our conversation, I asked him, I said, when the home is initially registered, will it have to be inspected? And he said, yes. So we need to get that clarified. My next question was at the annual renewal, 12 months later, well, this also says initial application inspection fee, again, should be $250. When the application is renewed at the annual renewal 12-month period, it'll be $150, not the $250.
Correct.
Okay.
All application fees will be $150, the inspection fee will be $250.
Okay.
So the section 116 is one I spoke of that needed to be cleaned up a little bit, just as far as fees on it.
Okay. All right. I've read 3 different places in here, we would charge the landlord for, I think it's $20 to get the application, $25 for the ordinance, and then $50, I guess, for the whole package or whatever. When somebody comes into you and applies for a permit, building permit, you give them the paperwork, whatever, do we charge for that?
We do not.
And my question is, why are we charging, these people? We don't charge anybody else for this. Another thing is, I asked Mr. Hall yesterday to calculate the annual cost to the city to manage this program. We were assuming it's gonna be 130 some homes. The last conversation we had in the board meeting, I think you said 130 something was the best you'd come up with at that
That was in
time.
December, yes, sir, but I had not researched everything I had on my data list.
Okay. Well, the number you gave me of between 6,000 and 7,000 a year is what it would cost the city. It's no new cost because we're not having to hire a new employee. We're going to do it with our current staff. So we rounded up to 10,000, allow for vehicle, use of gas, inspection, and so forth. An issue I have no problem whatsoever approving or voting for controls on rental houses, but I don't think the city should be trying to make a windfall off this. I think it should be basically a break-even program for us. Now, if this is costing the city 10,000 a year, and we're charging 150 for 170 something houses, you can do the math, was it 30 something thousand a year? Well, we're charging another, that's just the 150 for the application. We're charging another 250 for the inspection. We're up to 50, 60,000 a year on this. Plus, whenever we hand them that person the ordinance, the application and all that, we're charging them for that, $20 and $25. I think it's excessive. Again, I don't think the city should be trying to make money off this program. I think it's a service we're providing to our citizens, but I don't think it should be costing the city anything. I think the fees we charge for this should cover the city's expenses. Again, I don't think we should be making a lot of money on it. I'm okay with the 150 application fee. I think the inspection fee should be 150. And I don't think we should charge somebody when they come in and fill out an application. I don't think we should be charging them $20 for the application. Another question I got, we require a $15,000 bond. I know the other cities will accept a letter of credit in lieu of a bond. Are we going to accept a letter of credit? So that's on the bond, we don't mention that it has to be a company headquartered in the United States. Okay, I don't think we want to accept a bond from a foreign, anybody from a foreign country. So only accept bonds from U.S. companies. Another thing, will we accept a letter of credit in lieu of a bond? As the ordinance is written today, I would not vote for it. We make some changes and clean it up. It's very confusing. I would be okay with it, but not in its current form. This thing is 16 pages long, and this is something that somebody should have been able to write. It's a simple rental home ordinance, 3, 4, 5 pages tops, and we're dealing with a 16-page document. Like a frustrated attorney wrote this thing. Anyway, those are my feelings on it.
Anybody else, questions or comments about it?
I have a question for, attorney. What is your suggestion on Mr. Slay's request on bond versus letter of credit and or a U.S. company only?
That's whatever the board wants to do. Any one of those things is perfectly fine. I mean, if you want to limit it to just a bond, you can. If you want to accept a bond or letter of credit, that's fine. If you want to limit it to just U.S. companies, that's fine as well. So
What is your suggestion on under our 116 section regarding fees? Or do you have any on the concerns he's expressed?
Regards to the application fee,
Uh-huh.
I have no thought one way or the other. That's certainly up to the building code of the board what you charge.
Well, I know, I deal with this in Brandon, Richmond, and Madison, and none of those cities charge for any of this paperwork that we're proposing to charge for. And I don't think it's right. And the city doesn't charge like somebody comes in for a building permit, a site plan, or whatever. We furnish them all the paperwork or ordinance if they want it. We don't charge for that. And why are we charging, for this program?
Mr. Hall, could you assure us that adoption of any code regarding this category, that there could be a link under zoning or whatever department on the website that an individual could print this at home on their own, or their office on their own computer?
Yes, we can make that available.
Well, that would be this is only if an individual will come in, they need the packet. Most individuals are gonna have their own printer in their own office or have a secretary potentially to do that for them if they're a business owner.
Well, a lot of these homes are owned by large businesses.
Okay, I'm just saying, the option would be there for Joe Smith to print it PDF directly from the website. That's what I was just asking, could he get it on the website?
Well, I know with most cities, you just go in when your annual permit is to be renewed. You just walk in there, they hand you the application, you fill it out. Very simple.
So I guess I'll address this question to Mr. Powell and Ms. Williams. If the real issue is not to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare insofar as they are affected by the initial and continued occupancy of residential rental structures, what is the issue? Is the issue that there are too many rental homes in various neighborhoods in the city?
I've been approached by HOAs and citizens who come sit at the bike shop and sit in on conversations with me sometimes that are concerned about rentals and the impact of rentals in a neighborhood. Now, I'm not here to be a hypocrite, and I'm Luther Gluckstadt. My wife and I, our family, we rented a house, and then we bought the house. So I have no issues with rentals. I want to make sure that the rentals are up to standard, that we know how many rentals that we have, that we know the people that are in the rentals, just like we know the people that are in the houses in our city. And whether it's real or perceived, there are HOAs that have the perception of rental houses and want the city to do something about it, to have a inspection code where we look at the people coming in, we look at the houses before they move into it, that they're up to code. And so yes, I have had quite a few conversations with individuals.
But none of that has to do with the health, safety, or welfare. As I appreciate it now, the city can make anybody whose home is not up to code, brought up to code, right?
That which is viewable from the road.
Okay, so I mean, if there's some reason for us to suspect that a property of our neighbors is being run down, the city has some power to make them bring up to code, right?
If it's visible from the road, yes.
Okay. I mean, is there a difference between entering somebody's house that's a renter versus entering somebody's house that happens to own their own home?
There is. From a life safety standpoint, there are additional requirements of a rental house, such as additional smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and existing structures that are required.
No, I guess maybe I ask a poor question, but if we're concerned about homes in the city being safe and healthy places for people to live, we should have that same concern for people who live here and own their own homes versus rent their own homes, right?
Correct.
And 200 rental properties, the city's never received a formal complaint.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Powell, it sounded to me like you wanted to make some changes to section 116.
Oh, yes, sir, that's correct.
What changes do you want to make before I ask if there's going to be a motion to vote?
Sure, so these are for us to make the proposed, on this, these are the changes I would like to see. So 116.1, for a copy of current ordinance, may be purchased. I could agree with Alderman Slay, Alderman Taylor, but that should be something that we can provide for them. I would like to see that stricken from it.
Okay,
116.2 would then become 116.1, which would be the initial application fee. Strike the far occupied property, and that fee should be $150.
okay, let me make sure I'm right, because I'm making edits to this.
Yes, sir.
It shall say initial application fee.
Yes, sir.
We'll strike the
Initial
far
application
occupied property.
fee is $150.
Now, in the rest of the sentence where it says the application fee for occupied property, it just should say application fee.
Yes, sir.
So the application fee, strike for occupied property. Tell me when to quit striking.
Yes, sir. Occupied property, yep, and then, it should be $150.
So the application fee shall be $150. That's what you want the entire section to read?
Yes, sir.
The application fee
I think if I think
shall be $150. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think if that's the case where you're removing the for occupied property, I think you can strike 116.1 and 116.2 and just leave 116.3 that just discusses the initial application and inspection fee and change that to $150.
Right, you don't need but for one, you know, that's.
No, the initial the application is $150 per year, it's a done deal. The inspection fee would be $250. Inspection would be done upon a tenant exiting the building before a new tenant moved into the building.
Or when the house is vacant.
Yes, sir.
All right, so guys, look, you guys all know how important it is that we get these things done perfectly, and that you guys vote on what you want to vote on. So I want to make sure that the minutes will accurately reflect what we're modifying here. So let's go back to 116.1. Mr. Powell, you wanted to read initial application fee. The application fee shall be $150.
Yes, sir.
And then 116.3 will become 116.2. You want it to read as what?
That the inspection, well, see, the initial application fee is 16.1, it's $150. 116.2, the inspection fee.
All right, so we'll just have the inspection fee.
Yes, sir, it's
And we'll
$250.
have the inspection fee for residential rental property shall be,
$250.
okay? Anything else in that section we're gonna change?
I guess your renewal fees, which would be each year, as they apply, that should be $150, not $250.
All right, so 116.4 will become 116.3.
Yes,
So you
sir.
wanted to read the renewal fee for residential rental property shall be $250.
Should be $150.
Shall be
That's what
100.
that's what the application fee is, yes, sir.
Okay? And then 116.5 becomes 116.4.
Yes, sir, that's correct, and that's good as it goes on that one,
I'm sorry?
and it's good.
It's good.
Changes on that one.
Okay.
All right, and then,
Hold on.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me make sure. Mr. Mall, Mr. Gatton, you get that right.
I believe so.
Okay. I've
I
got it.
have this too, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. All right, Mr. Powell.
and then on the 112.2.4, for the planning and replacement license costs, I would like to ask that be stricken as well. I can agree that, if a developer comes in, they're not paying for a, application and,
So you want to strike 112.2.4,
yes, sir,
okay?
that's all right.
Anybody else have any proposed changes to the document?
I just have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Taylor.
Actually, for Wesley, I think. Wesley, how long does it take to evict someone from a home?
I've never had to evict anybody, but I've heard horror stories of 6 months.
I was just looking at 114, 4.2, it says the owner becomes responsible for the tenant's actions or inactions. Once the city gives notice that the owner or operator of violations have not been addressed by a tenant, so the owner's responsible, but you can't get rid of your tenant. You could be racking up fines and, I guess, jail time. What is this now?
Well, another point you made earlier is, if a house passes, or excuse me, fails inspection, in some cases, it's impossible to have repairs done in 7 days. I know the crews I use, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks to get them on site. I've never had a house that failed inspection, but I can tell you, if one did, somebody could be really hard pressed to have repair work done in 7 days. But back on fees, we're striking fees on 116.1, $25 charge for giving someone a copy of the ordinance. Are we gonna leave that in here?
No, we struck.
That was struck?
116.1 has been stricken.
116.2 and 1.
All right, so, Mr. Taylor, do you want to propose an amendment to this or not?
No,
Okay, anybody else have any proposed amendments to this?
We're gonna leave the inspection fee at $250.
The inspection fee, as I appreciate, 116.2 is $250.
Okay.
Initial application fee is $150. Renewal fees are $150. That's what I have in my notes here. All right. Having heard no further discussion on the issue, is there a motion then to adopt this residential rental inspection code as proposed tonight and as amended?
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ms. Williams made the motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
Sean Taylor.
All right, that motion carries 4-1. Let's go to item number 8. Ms. Ruth.
Thank you, William.
All right, you want to give us a status update, Ms. Ruth?
Nothing's really changed since last month, Mr. Mayor. If anyone has any questions.
Anybody have any questions of Ms. Ruth with regard to grant status update? All right, let's go to item 8B.
Yes, this is the fiscal year 2025 Police Traffic Services Grant. Requesting a motion to accept this contract and allow for all signatures necessary.
Okay, and the police traffic services grant will be used for supplementing police salaries.
Correct.
$20,000 grant, doesn't require anything of the city. All right, is there a motion then to accept this MOHS grant of $20,000?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Bates made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Ruth.
Thank you.
Ms. Kellum?
Yes, right. I really don't have much to update on other than, we're finishing up budget season for FY25. We've got a budget workshop set for Thursday, our third one. So I just need to know if we're going to hold that or if we should push it until next week when I'm better from COVID. So please let me know about that. I've also been responding to discovery for annexation, and then prepping for tonight's board meeting and payroll tomorrow. That's really all I have.
Okay, obviously it's important for Ms. Kellum to be at our budget workshop that we have scheduled for Thursday. Here it is Tuesday, and based solely upon her voice, doesn't sound like she's gonna be ready for that. So, is it gonna cause anybody a great deal of heartburn if we move that, budget workshop to the following week? Okay,
And if not, I can certainly call in on Thursday. I just,
what's you guys' pleasure? I mean, you know, we've had a couple of these meetings already, so I hate to say that maybe it's not as important for Ms. Kellum not to be present, but that's probably accurate. You think you could call in, Lindsay?
yes, sir. I don't mind.
Okay, let's just leave it as it is. Everybody's schedule's set, so we'll leave it like that, absent something else. Ms. Kellum, anything else in terms of a general update?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Mall, anything you want to add to item 9B, the privilege license report? Any questions about either the general update from the city administration or the privilege license report? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, you have a question.
Scott, what do you think around on a percent on folks that are gotten their license current? Any guess?
I mean, we're over 300 something total active ones, so, I mean, the estimate was around 400-ish. I mean, but, you know, this can be businesses that have moved out, I'm afraid I know some of those businesses that have moved out, so that the number is probably quite smaller. We're still planning on getting them legal, whatever the next step is. I mean, it's probably more of the same, trying to get them in. You know, we've had people call someone, I might name what it is, but I've called someone today that we filed. But it's slowly but surely, and I will say, like, a lot of the newer businesses that are coming in, they're checking in and everything. It's more about just, but a lot of people don't even know they're supposed to switch. I know that sounds weird, but some people may still be filing with the account. Because especially if their business is kind of close to the line, right? And we have a lot of issues with that where it would be very easy to misinterpret where you stand. If you can't address what you're on staff, pass address, something like that.
Would the landlord be required to do? Come on.
So that's technical. You could probably add a little bit of this, but essentially if they're just being a landlord, no. But if the landlord has like, if we're landlord LLC and we're housed in Gluckstadt, then yes, you would need one. But any business, regardless of what they're doing, if their office is here, they have to file.
Okay.
They have a physical.
If that's their exempt.
Not the rental house itself.
Okay.
All right, item 9C pertains to engaging the accountants to perform our audit for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2024. This item seeks board approval to allow me to execute this engagement letter. You will note the scope of their work. It will not exceed $28,000 for the fiscal year.
Yes, sir. And to add to that, our tentative audit date for FY23 and FY24 has been set for December 12th. So they're going to conduct both audits at the same time and issue reports after that.
All right, any questions or comments about this? I ask for a motion then to authorize me to sign this engagement letter.
Make a motion, sir.
All right, Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 9D. We're asking approval to publish notice of the proposed budget and proposed tax levy. This is a legal requirement that we have to do for a public hearing for fiscal year 2025.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to work with legal on setting the date for the public hearing for the tax levy, because there's a statutory deadline we have to follow. So we will notify y'all of the best dates for that, and most likely will have to be a special call meeting. But this is just to be able to advertise.
Okay, is there a motion then to authorize publication of the notice? Motion. All right, Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hall. Item number 10A, general update.
Let's see, in the month of July, we issued 15 permits, total $12,722. We had 41 inspections, and we currently have, at the time of this memo, approximately 176 active permits. I did have a question, what all that would include. It does not include sign permits, but for lack of a better way to put it, if you have to swing a hammer to put a nail in, it includes that, such as new commercial, new residential additions for commercial and residential, re-roof and fencing and such.
All right, any questions of Mr. Hall about his general update? All right, item 10B, discussion and consideration of approval of application for rezoning K&S Warren Properties. Mr. Hall, as I appreciate it, this matter came before P&Z on July the 23rd.
Yes, sir.
And a public hearing was held at that time where a commentary both in favor and against the proposed rezoning was heard, correct?
That is correct.
And after that public hearing and the deliberation by P&Z, it was approved by a vote of what? All but one abstained or one voted against it? Is that the way you recall it?
I believe one abstained.
Well, okay. But it was approved, the rezoning was approved by P&Z.
Recommendation of rezone was approved.
Okay. All right, are there any questions or comments from any of you guys, ladies, about this proposed application for rezoning?
I'd like to start also. So the people that spoke in opposition of the facility or the rezoning, are they, what was I mean, obviously I read from this, but overall just has more to do with the traffic and infrastructure as opposed to having the baseball fields, or what was your general?
Traffic was the major concern, infrastructure and things such as lighting from the fields at night and whatnot. The traffic was the main concern.
And what, well, so with lighting of the fields, what time was the game, I mean, what time the lights go to? Is there anybody here representing?
Mr. Warren should be
Mr.
here.
and Mrs. Warren.
Yeah. And Mr. Powell, if I may just, this is just for the rezoning of the property. If this is approved tonight by you all and they move forward with the ball fields or anything like that, they will have to apply for a conditional use and have site plan review. So at that point in time, if there's anything like restrictions to the lights, that can be conditions on the property, that such as the games have to be over by 10, 9, whatever the board sees fit with that. Those can be added at that time.
All right. So as far as it's more for infrastructure than people are opposing it for the rezoning of it. I mean, I've had a lot of people be like, well, we need to grow on the east side over there. And so to me, this would be, if it was to be rezoned, if it was built, you know, a great anchor for maybe like in Cotton Station or Galleria Parkway and some of that area over there. So I guess with it being currently R1, there's no chance of ever houses being built over there, never been built over there.
Because of this being where it is in a floodplain, the cost of the dirt work alone would probably prohibit the houses being built. It would be substantial to recoup the cost for housing.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, at this time I'd ask, is there a motion or approve the application for rezoning of the K&S Warren Properties?
Motion.
All right, Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Hall. Ma'am?
I'm sorry, do we not have an opportunity to speak to the board? Because we've got quite a few homeowners here from Wildwood to share our concerns about this rezoning. So if we misunderstood the process, I apologize to these folks, but I mean, I think better than half this room is our homeowners who have some concerns.
Yes, ma'am. I typically give anybody who wants the opportunity to address the board after the meeting. Now the board has voted on it and approved the application. If you want to be heard, I'll certainly allow you a few minutes to be heard. Usually what I do is give everybody about 2 minutes to address the board. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. But what I would suggest to you is let us get through the rest of our agenda, and then you can do that when we're done.
Well, I guess then did you vote again? Because you've already voted. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult, but it's.
No, I don't think you're being difficult. There wouldn't be another vote of it tonight unless somebody made a motion for another vote tonight.
Okay, well, I mean, I put my name on the list.
Yes, ma'am.
As the person to speak, so I guess, I just would have thought that would have happened before.
What we usually do, if you look at our agenda, public comment is down here, number 13. And I usually, when we get to that point, ask if anybody's signed. But you're welcome to speak. When we're done, I would just suggest to you that you allow us to finish the agenda before you do that.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you, Mr. Hall. All right, Mr. Buckner.
Good evening, board.
Item number 11, request for approval of paving in Red Oak subdivision.
Yes, sir. We have just finished phase 1 of paving in Red Oak. I believe they finished up earlier or late last week. This is to finish the rest of the subdivision. We have all the little cul-de-sacs and stub outs that were on the side that were not approved by the county. And this would finish the neighborhood.
Okay, so in order to finish repaving or finish paving Red Oak.
Yes, sir.
That's set forth, what's the total cost of that going to be?
That should be about
That's
$149,000, basically $150,000.
Okay.
There's a little bit of curb and gutter that needs to be fixed in there before it gets paved, but,
I've been noticing the work. It looks good from what I can see of it. We're not done.
there's a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done from the first phase, but, they will be coming back out to get that. Hopefully it'll be in there soon to finish this if it's approved.
Okay, so this needs to be done to finish the job.
Yes, sir.
Okay, $149,571.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions about that? I'd ask for a motion to approve the additional paving for Red Oak subdivision. Motion. Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second? Ms. Bates, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 11B, request for approval of streetlight install on Clarkdale Road.
As y'all know, we just finished up applying streetlights to Yandell Road and Weisenberger. I think it looks really good. We could add a few additional lights, about 10 lights, and it's also 3 transformers, and finish up the main roads over on that side of town, on the other side of Highway 51, and especially the entrances to the city on that side of town.
Okay, and the cost to the city,
Roughly $218 per month.
Any questions of Mr. Buckner with regard to the street light install on Clarkdale Road?
Mayor, you said Clarkdale Road, this is
Clarkdale Road
Clarkdale Road extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different street.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments? Is there a motion then for approval of the street light install on Clarkdale Road extension?
Make that motion, sir.
All right, Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 11C, Mr. Buckner.
And continuing procedures for the MDOT project, PDM. MDOT has sent us a memorandum of agreement for the Calhoun Station Parkway Overlay Project, and we're asking for the board to allow the mayor to sign this in order to overlay and continue on with the grant process for Calhoun Station Parkway.
All right, any questions or comments of Mr. Buckner regarding this MDOT memorandum of agreement for Calhoun Station Parkway?
When do we think this work will be done?
We're hoping late spring, next summer. It's not as simple as if we were to pay for it ourselves. We do have to go through environmental and engineering, things like that, per the process. So it can't be as fast as we want, but it should be done hopefully at the latest summer of next year.
All right, is there a motion then for approval of this MOU that to allow, be executed on behalf of the city? Mr. Slay made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have a similar MOU for the Gluckstadt Road Capacity Improvement Project, 11D.
It's basically the same thing, just for our other grant that we received, just for the Gluckstadt Road capacity improvements. We just asked that the board allow the mayor to sign this memorandum of agreement with MDOT to allow the process to continue.
All right, any questions or comments? At this time, I ask for a motion for approval of the MDOT memorandum agreement for the Gluckstadt Road Capacity Improvement Project.
Motion.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, term bids, 11E.
We recently went through the term bid process for the full year of FY 25, with the exception of the 2 asphalt term bids, which are for 6 months. We asked that the mayor and board approve the term bids.
Any questions or comments about the awarded term bids?
Chris, am I reading this correctly on the color chart that, yeah, ad count received and all the items that they received like bid
For asphalt.
for asphalt, yes. And then alternates.
They're the awarded vendor.
Oh, okay, alternate, okay. All right, and they are also just did right out and,
Yes,
Okay.
they been the term bid winner for the asphalt
all
contract.
right.
Any question? I mean, these term bids encompass a great.
There is a great deal. There is one I do want to mention, the one for buying HDPE pipe. All 3 bidders came in at the same amount. There's a state contract price on that. Wasn't aware of that. So basically, pick what we need to on that one. Whoever has it in stock, we'll go with.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion then to approve the awarding of the various term bids?
Make the motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have to add an item for tonight. Item 11F pertains to the proposed hazard mitigation plan. Mr. Buckner, you want to explain?
We got with the county and we have asked them to add us as an appendix to their hazard mitigation plan. So it can be covered, legally under their hazard mitigation plan.
And it's our police department
There is,
and the generator.
we have a FEMA grant, from what I understand, for the PD building that requires us to be under a hazard mitigation plan. So being as an appendix to the county makes us covered in that aspect.
Right. So the authority, the powers that be said that before they would give us the money to buy the generator, we had to be within or fall under a hazard mitigation plan. It's important the generator is to be installed at any day now. Once we pay them for it, it's about a $90,000 generator. And it's important for us to adopt this so that we can take advantage of that grant. Any questions about the proposed hazard mitigation plan?
And we got this, before this evening's meeting. I'm just looking through real quick. Oh, no, it's not page number. Table B42. This states, using the method of this plan, 75 people, it's estimated, 75 people in 28 housing units are exposed to possible flood event in the city. That's very small, and that is a good thing, right? Considering
Still
we have
more than what we
flood
want it to be.
sections of the community. I'm impressed to see that number.
And we went through, we had a meeting with the Hazard Mitigation Council, and had some wants and needs for us, safe rooms down the road, generators for future city buildings in themselves, things to drainage improvement projects, things like that, that would help us protect those 75 houses, but also protect in other ways for storm events, tornado events, things of that nature, fires.
There's a lot of data in here. I'll probably review it more. That's a number that's in the budget cause. Thank you for this information.
All right, is there a motion then to adopt this hazard mitigation?
Move.
Mr. Slay made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much, Mr. Butler.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Chief Hale, item 12A.
Good evening again, y'all. Mayor, we had, not quite as a busy month, right, tickets. We did 227 citations, which is down. I guess maybe people are slowing down a little bit. I hope that's what it is. We had 13 total arrests, 8 felonies. We did pick up on our felony arrests. We had 3 misdemeanor arrests, 2 DUIs. We have now, since we started serving warrants, served 137. We recovered 1 gun and we recovered 2 stolen vehicles.
Stolen vehicles?
Yes, ma'am. We recovered 1 this morning coming from Alabama, going to New Orleans.
But it's not going to New Orleans anymore.
No, they got lost. They stole the vehicle to go. They're addicted to fentanyl, so they stole the vehicle to go to treatment in Louisiana.
Oh, my.
They're getting treatment at Madison County right now. So yeah, we recovered 2 stolen vehicles this month. Like I was saying, we've made some pretty good drug arrests from last month. One of them was we recovered a weapon, some marijuana, and 207 ecstasy pills. And that guy was out on jail for murder. Out on bond for murder. So.
In Mississippi?
Yes. So, any questions on that?
All right, let's go to item 12B. Chief Hale, I see you want to sell 8 shotguns.
Yes, sir.
And I just had to chuckle when I saw that.
I know.
Proceeds from the sale would greatly benefit the department in purchasing a less lethal launcher.
Yes.
That's interesting.
It is.
It's a gun, right?
It's a 40 millimeter, yes. Yeah, I know where you're going with the shotgun thing. If y'all were wondering, I can't shoot a skeet with a shotgun.
All right, so
He's good at it out there.
did we buy the shotguns?
We did.
Are they new?
Yes.
Or we've used them some?
We have, but for the most part, patrolmen don't like shotguns. They like the rifles. The rifles, have a longer range. The ammunition, more capacity, and that shotguns aren't as effective and they're not as accurate as a rifle. So we feel like, instead of those sitting in our closet not being used, it would be better to sell those and buy actual equipment that we need, especially less lethal stuff.
We're gonna sell them for $2,200.
Well, that is the lowest bid is the guns and gear.
The best.
The best and the lowest.
Best bid is.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, this time we're actually going with the high, so yeah, that is the best bid. So,
We know what you mean.
I'm sorry. Sometimes it don't come out right.
Any questions about that?
And Mayor, the board does need to make the finding that these shotguns are no longer needed or used for municipal purposes, and then allow them to be sold and priced them each individually at the $275 each. So, but we do need to make that finding.
That finding in that motion.
All right, so is there a motion then to approve the sale of the 8 shotguns, finding that the city doesn't have a use for them?
Motion.
Ms. Williams made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 12C, you want to purchase some desktop computers and accessories for the new PD building.
Yes, sir, we do. Getting closer, I think October is hopefully, it'd be nice to go sooner, but October is what we're looking at now to be in there. So we need some more computers and accessories to go along with it. And DCI, we requested 2 quotes and DCI came in at the lowest and best quote.
Okay, that's the 11,144 number.
Hang on. Yes, sir.
Okay,
$11,144.20.
all right. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of these desktop computers and other accessories?
Motion.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Slade made the motion, made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any approved? Any opposed? All right, there was supposed to be a change order for the PD building. Have you seen a change order?
What was
Okay.
it?
Well,
Have not either.
without a change order, we don't have anything to vote on in that respect, but I'll just let you guys know, as you can see from the materials that we were provided, that we have been told by Benchmark that we are scheduled now for an October the 10th completion date on the police department. I haven't seen a change order. Has anybody?
No,
Lindsay,
sir.
have you seen one?
No, sir, I've not received one.
Okay. Bottom line is we've had some delays, be it weather, be it Entergy was a bit delayed for various reasons in connecting permanent power to the building. So just for you guys' information, we thought we were gonna be in around the end of August, 1st of September, and now we're looking at about October the 10th. It's just for all of you guys' information. Absent that, I think that takes us through.
Everybody invited to the river.
Which we don't know that day yet.
Yes.
So we have power, full
Yes.
power in the building?
We have power. They are, actually working on the parking lot as we speak. So we're getting closer than we were at the groundbreaking.
Does that take us through all of your items?
Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you, and thank you guys
Yes, sir.
for it.
Thank you.
All right, if you would hand me that public comment.
Mayor, I believe we lost Ms. Elliott.
Oh.
Well, so
Yes.
Hello.
You're back on speaker word.
Thank you.
All right, Lindsay, we had, public comment. I've got the sheet here signed by one person, Ms. McCullough. You're
Yes,
recognized.
sir.
And Ms. McCullough, we usually give folks 5 minutes to talk. Haven't had that.
I will say, a quick show of hands, how many people are here from Wildwood? I don't think they knew. So I'm not sure Larry told them to do that, so if you would, they may want to have something to say as well. So, okay. So, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I do have a question, actually. Was the zoning committee meeting minuted?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this meeting minuted?
Yes, ma'am, it will be- it's not minted yet, but it will be the minutes.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Within 30 days.
Okay, that's good, thank you. So when we came before the zoning committee, there was, probably about as many homeowners, different set of homeowners, except for myself, and the, Bonds, that came. Yes, traffic was the huge issue. The lighting was a huge issue. If you look at the zoning, and it's been quite a few weeks, since I looked at the zoning for the city of Gluckstadt, I mean, it talks about, has the property around the area changed so that zoning is needed. Okay, so if you look around what is, around this property, it's a neighborhood and it's commercial property, but there are no sports complexes around it. So, our position is that there are no other sports complexes. In fact, they do not surround neighborhoods in other areas in Madison County where they are actually located. The traffic, as we addressed it, was the entrance to the sportsplex, as we understood it from that meeting, is coming off of Yandell Road. Show of hands in the room, who thinks Yandell Road needs more traffic? Okay, but I believe that the county approved 2 other neighborhoods to be built off of Yandell Road in the last month. So that's only gonna add to more, traffic on the road, coming through that intersection right there at Yandell and Highway 51. As we heard in the last, meeting, before the zoning board, there's not been 100% commitment by the state to, really connect and make that, traffic flow any better, through there. So, now we're gonna even have more traffic. And now we're talking about adding, the sports complex. Our concern as homeowners is, what does this do to the impact and the cost of our homes, the home values that we have? We think there is a strong possibility it's going to decrease it. The other topic that we discussed was the financing of this project. The Warrens were unable to commit that they had all the appropriate financing. So our proposal, our submission to the zoning committee at that time was that any zoning to something that's strictly more ballparky was premature because they could not commit, that they had the investors and or the financing commitments. The concern is, has the DEQ and the EPA actually approved this? I think it's some contingent on some things, but again, not 100% committal by the Warrens, or no representative from DEQ or EPA that was at the zoning committee that said yes, affirmatively, they would have the permits to be able to build on that. I think that is all that I had that came up at the last meeting. Sorry, we misunderstood the proceedings. It's a little difficult to comment after you've already voted. We did ask for homeowners to come. I think, you may hear somebody who's in support of it, but I think most people, and I don't want to speak for them, would not be in support of this across the street from us. Probably a great thing for Madison County, just in the wrong location. So, thank you.
Ms. McCullough, I appreciate you being here, and I saw you at the P&Z meeting, and I have encouraged you and anybody else who wants to be heard. I love to see a full boardroom. Okay, now, with that said, understand this. The only thing that has been approved as of tonight is that the property has been rezoned from residential, no homes were ever going to be built there, to C2. There are additional steps. Additional votes will be had both in front of P&Z and in front of this board. And you will have the opportunity to be heard at every step along the process. And I would encourage you and anybody else who wants to be heard on that as the project moves forward and additional requests for approval are made to come. I think there's always public hearings on these sorts of things, or at least an opportunity to be heard. And you would be heard as well as anybody else who wants to be heard throughout the entire process. So thanks for coming, and don't quit. If this is important to you, this is the first step in a process that will hopefully involve anybody who wants to be heard.
And thank you for that. We just see it as a big step. Obviously, you've got to be rezoned before you can move forward with anything. And so I think that's probably why our homeowners are here tonight, and want to show that we did want the rezoning to happen. Like I said, we just misunderstood the process. We had hopefully had a chance, to speak before the vote was had, but that is, I guess, your procedure. And so that's what we have to go with. But yeah, we'll be back.
Okay.
We'll be back.
All right. All right. All right. At this time, we have the need to enter into executive session. First, we need to enter into closed session. Is there a motion to enter into closed session to determine a specific need for executive session? Mr. Slade made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor? We're in closed session.
I was going to say deeper than radio.
Hey, y'all, we need to go into executive session, so I'm gonna have to ask you guys to exit. Thank you all for coming. What the Warrens wants to do and what the pipeline want to do. I have not seen a resolution issued. The Warrens had a proposal, boardwalk just completely shot it down.
Who?
I think, that lady, she's remember come before us, like they did,
It's not a public hearing unless they appeal the recommendation of the P and Z.
All right, guys, at this time, we need to enter into executive session for the unfortunate purpose of accepting the resignation of a city employee.
Mayor, I'm sorry. I have a couple items I'd like to discuss, to add to. Is it going into executive session?
Okay, so, let's
I
just,
thought you had to turn.
I have
on
something too,
closed.
Mayor.
all right, I'm gonna let everybody do what they wanna do here. Okay? We just gotta do it logically. All right? So the first need to enter into executive session is for a personnel matter to accept the resignation of a city employee or two city employees are resigning. Okay, so that certainly meets the qualifications for executive session.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so in addition to that, we also have a hiring of Dwayne Montgomery will be moving from interim to permanent sergeant. That was added to executive session.
So we have a resignation of two city employees.
Yes, sir.
We have a promotion of a city employee. That too would meet the criteria for executive session.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
Your Honor.
Okay.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I was gonna bracket those into all three of those as to the job, discussing the job performances of
Okay.
city employees.
All right, so, and then, Ms. Williams, you want to talk in executive session about?
The land involved in the park site, the RFP discussion, Bear Creek Water Site, PD overall, just general PD, nothing that's negative. And, I want an update on annexation, just as much as can be provided. So we all hear it at one time.
A general update on the PD, you talking about the PD department or
No, just,
the building?
no, just since we have Chief in here, just understanding how are they doing, how is the department, how are the guys and the girls?
Does that mean?
I don't think so. It's gotta be related to this job performance of a specific employee, not as the department as a whole. So I'm not sure that one's gonna qualify. If it's just a general update on status of the department, I think that does not qualify.
Okay, since we're not in executive session yet and we're only in closed, could I properly ask for that now? Or no?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Annexation undoubtedly falls within, that's a pending legal matter.
Pending
So that
litigation.
will certainly meet the criteria for executive session. What else? The park property, that's not, I don't think that's.
It's the acquisition of real estate, so I think that it can, qualify. It's normally for the purchase, of this.
We've already acquired the property. Okay.
It's fine.
That's okay.
It's normally when you go into executive session, is to discuss the purchase